We're checking in on our preseason bold bets today on the Locked On NFL Scouting Podcast.
You are Locked On NFL Scouting with the Draft Dudes, your daily podcast for NFL and college football scouting. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's better than this? It's guys being dudes here on the Locked On NFL Scouting Podcast. We're the Draft Dudes. I'm Joe Marino from Locked On Bills. He's Kyle Crabbs from Locked On Dolphins. And we are your NFL experts here with you daily to talk team building across the league on the Locked On NFL Scouting Podcast with the Draft Dudes, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Want to issue a big thank you, shout out, and welcome to our everydayers. Those of you who never miss a single episode, we appreciate y'all being here very, very much. This episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnNFL and use code LockedOnNFL to win $50 instantly when you play $5.
We'd like everybody to raise their glass, whatever beverage they have this morning, and pour one out for Joe Douglas. Relieved of his duties in the midst of a challenging season for the New York Jets. And I don't know if you had a chance to read the Athletic piece that came out last night detailing what's going on there with the New York Jets.
Yeah, I saw some of that.
Wow. Very challenging circumstances, it sounds like. And more often than not, teams that continue to struggle to get it right, the common denominator usually starts at the top, and that sounds like that's what the New York Jets are unfortunately having to deal with to a much greater degree than I ever would have imagined.
Yeah, man. Talk about just blowing up in your face. And then through this, just learning a lot about old Woody Johnson there.
Yeah.
And you wonder why the Jets are always bad. Well, teams stay bad because of bad ownership. And, you can't fire owners. So all the best, New York Jets, in rallying and getting this thing figured out.
I'm sitting here looking at our bold bets sheet, and we didn't stand a chance with either one of our Jets bold bets for the preseason.
I had to have a winning record for the first time since 2015.
We didn't stand a chance.
Man, I just needed 9 wins. I didn't think much of the Jets, but I thought 9 wins. Boy, they're not going to get there.
And I doubled down on the hot take that I had from the previous season, which didn't happen because Rodgers got hurt. I said, Garrett Wilson, 1,500 yards, big breakout season incoming. Well, no, not happening. But
maybe next year we'll go with the Garrett Wilson.
Maybe next year. We'll see. There's a lot of interesting decisions ahead for the New York Jets as far as what this is going to look like. We know there will be a lot of new faces at the top of football operations, perhaps behind center, but that's a story for another day. What we're going to do here today on the show is we have the sheet of all of we did a show before the season, or we did, I guess it was a total of 4 shows, right? Yeah. We each split it. We did our own bold bets independently. And then we came together and talked about them and decided which ones we were going to make like the formal bets for the season.
Yeah.
So there's like a week's worth of programming from back in August. I think it's when we were respectively at training camps.
That's right. Yeah.
And there's a whole week of our bold predictions for the season. We decided which ones we were going to make the bets. And we're going to check in on everything now that most teams have played 10 games. Some teams have played 11. But most teams have played 10 games in the NFL. And we're going to look first and foremost at the formal bets that we took each other up on. And there was a bunch of them. Now, we also vetoed each other on some bets. And I'm looking at the 2 vetoes I used for you this year. And I'm really glad I used both bold bets, being Jalen Waddle has more receiving yards than Tyreek Hill, and DK Metcalf finished his top 5 in receiving yards in the 2024 season.
Remember, I didn't veto any of yours, so.
You don't gotta make it weird and
I
used 2 and you.
No, you should have. I remember if the strategy was people didn't think my bets were bold enough last time, and so I said, all right, I just won't use any vetoes, and maybe that'll be a neutralizer.
So look over some of my bets that you have with me and which ones you feel really good about. You've already won some, like the Chiefs didn't hang 50 points on the Raiders in week 8. That was a bold bet because the Raiders they did the Kermit voice at training camp. You remember that?
Yeah.
With the puppet. Yeah. I'm here. And that was like the big pat flex on the Raiders, be like, okay, yeah, here I actually am. That didn't happen. So you've won one, at least one already. What are the ones stand out in a good way to you?
In a good way, that I took you up on, or you took me up on?
That you took me up on.
Well, I took you up on Dalton Kincaid, 1,300 receiving yards.
Yeah, that was that club is Kelsey, Kittle, Andrews, Gronkowski, and Jimmy Graham. I said Dalton Kincaid's gonna be the next guy.
356 receiving yards in 10 games and missed the last one. I just don't think he's gonna have 1,000 more yards over the last 6 games.
Yeah, I think that's probably a pretty safe bet.
Come on, like, it can't be one-sided. What you got to get some.
So I'll tell you one of mine that you took me up on that I feel kind of good about.
Yeah.
Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
Sets the single season franchise record for rushing touchdowns, which was 14. He has 13 right now. So I might get that one this weekend as we keep score. Bet big on Jacksonville, said they were going to score a franchise record for points. That didn't help. I took you up on Jacksonville's bet that you had, Christian Kirk, 1,100 yards. Nothing's going good there.
Oh, this was a good one. On my Baltimore, I said Lamar Jackson has the first 4,000-yard passing season of his career. That's looking pretty safe, right?
And I took you up on that one, yes.
Yeah, that one looks pretty good. So both of our Baltimore bets landed pretty well.
Congrats on winning the Detroit Lions one that I had. Which
you were certainly on the right path.
Aiden Hutchinson wins Defensive Player of the Year was my bold bet for Detroit, and I probably would have got it, but he got hurt, so that doesn't help.
Ooh, wait! You should spike the ball in this New Orleans Saints one. Let's make sure that it's correct.
I had Saints offense and defense both ranked 17th or worse in yards. Now they're 11th in offensive yards.
Right. 31st in defense, though.
Yeah, after being top 12 for 5 straight years before that.
I can't believe the offense is going to be the piece of that that might not land for you. That surprises me.
That's going to sweat it out a little bit.
Yeah, it's
you should spike the ball on San Francisco.
All right, let me see. What did I have? Not top 10 in total defense for the first time in 5 years. That looks pretty good. And I smelled it out on the Bucs too. I said bottom half of the NFL in scoring defense for the first time since Bowles' first season. That's feeling pretty good, right?
So let me ask you this. If Baron Browning goes on to get 10 sacks this season, does it count because you had it as a Broncos bet and he might not play for, or he doesn't play for the Broncos anymore?
Is he going to get 10 sacks? How many does he have?
I just theoretically.
I think it should count if I get it. If he gets 10 sacks, I don't think he's going to, though.
Are you going to give yourself credit for Mason Rudolph starts a game by coach's decision yet?
Man, that's tough. That's tough because I feel like I got that correct, but also technically, Will Levis had the shoulder injury.
Right.
So it smells like it's correct, but I guess technically it's not.
Right. You got aggressive with Jordan Love as well. I don't think that one's trending particularly well. Although Jordan got super hot in the back half of the year last year too. So
I need him to throw 40 touchdowns, right?
Yes, you do. He has 16.
Oh boy.
Through 8 games.
Oh boy.
So you need a lot of touchdowns in 9 games.
How's this Tony Pollard? You had him at 65 receptions. Where is old Tony Pollard at? He looks pretty good when I watch him, but I have no idea how many catches.
He's very productive.
Yeah.
He has 30 receptions through 10 games this season, but on 40 targets. He's just not getting the target volume that I thought he was going to.
I'm guessing they're not running enough plays, right? Probably not getting enough third down conversions, right?
Right.
Probably not that he's wrong. How am I doing on this?
Low-key, that's a solid – he's been a solid ad for them. He's averaging like 85 yards from scrimmage per game.
Yeah, and especially when they don't really have the passing offense to complement it, right? I mean,
right.
He's still able to produce. I had Aaron Jones over 1,500 yards. That's going to be close. He's at 954.
You might get screwed because he got banged up a little bit.
I know. That was definitely pacing pretty well.
And that was why I took you up on the bet, was because he's looked amazing the last 3 years, but he's just kind of got banged up in each one of those seasons as Joe leaves and drops back out. So what's going to happen from here is we're going to go to break, and then when we come back, we're going to talk about each one of the conferences division by division And that's next here on Locked On NFL Scouting. So make sure that you stick with us.
Prize Picks is the best place to get real money sports action with over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings. Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. All you do is pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 100 times your cash. Run your game all season long with Prize Picks. I personally love that Prize Picks puts their members first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. When my picks hit, I can get money in as quick as 15 minutes, and Prize Picks now offers Venmo for quick and easy deposits and withdrawals into your account this season. So download the app today and use code LOCKEDONNFL to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Again, download the app today. Use code LOCKEDONNFL to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, run your game. Pre-alcohol probiotic drink by Z-Biotics is the world's first genetically engineered probiotic. It was invented by PhD scientists to tackle rough mornings after drinking. Here's how it works. When you drink, alcohol gets converted into a toxic byproduct in your gut. It's this byproduct, not dehydration, that's to blame for your rough next day. Pre-alcohol produces an enzyme to break this byproduct down. Just remember to make Z-Biotics your first drink of the night. Drink responsibly, and you'll feel your best tomorrow. Here's what you do. Step 1, drink pre-alcohol. For best results, make pre-alcohol your first drink of the night. Step 2, drink responsibly, pace yourself, hydrate, and get a good night's sleep. Step 3, enjoy tomorrow. Wake up feeling refreshed and ready to take on the day. Go to zbiotics.com/LockedOnNFL to learn more and get 15% off your first order when you use code LockedOnNFL at checkout. Z-Biotics is back with a 100% money-back guarantee, so if you're unsatisfied for any reason, they'll refund your money, no questions asked. Remember, head to zbiotics.com/LockedOnNFL and use code LockedOnNFL at checkout for 15% off.
So those were most of the ones that we formally took each other up on, but we did make 64 total bets. I don't expect us to get through 64 total bets here today, but we are going to go like division by division and just do like a quick pop in, like round of applause for Joe Marino. Jonnu Smith, your bold bet was 415 receiving yards for Jonnu Smith, which was more than all Miami Dolphins tight ends combined last year. He's at 448. You already won that.
We did it in 10 games, baby.
But I didn't take you up on that one because I thought that was a pretty good bet. So
what an annoying player he is on the Dolphins. Him and Aaron Brewer. I hate that they have him, man. Not gonna lie. It's annoying.
Good scheme fits.
Those screens are nasty, man. To Jonnu Smith.
I am gonna get screwed by the Patriots offensive line. Ramondre Stevenson finishes the year in 6th for Patriots history in career rushing yards as a member of the organization. He's at 585, but he's averaging 3.8 yards per carry. The last 5 games for the New England Patriots, Joe, Ramondre Stevenson, 20 carries for 73 yards, 20 carries for 74 yards, 10 carries for 16 yards, 20 carries for 48 yards.
Peyton Barber line. Are we getting there?
Oh, man.
250 and less than 4 a touch. We're getting there.
We are pushing the Peyton Barber. He has 182 touches this season, and he's averaging 3.9 yards per touch.
Oh, brother. We are.
He only needs 68 touches to qualify, right? Because it's 250 or more.
250 or more and under 4. He's going to get it.
Can we educate everybody on the Peyton Barber line who doesn't know what the Peyton Barber line is?
Please do.
So Peyton Barber was a running back for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yeah.
And it wasn't that long ago. He was last in the league in 2021. But he's like a fantasy darling there for a bit because he was a high volume player. He got a ton of touches, most notably in 2018 when he rushed the ball 234 times for 871 yards and then caught 20 passes as well. In total, it was 254 touches, and he failed to surpass 1,000 yards from scrimmage in rushing and receiving yards. He averaged 3.8 yards per touch on 254. So Joe and I said that's like the Mendoza line in baseball. Like if you don't bat 200 at the plate, it's just like a catastrophic type season. The Peyton Barber line is the football equivalent to the Mendoza line, and Ramondre Stevenson's going to push it this year.
Yeah.
I hope he pushes it again this week because he's got the Dolphins, but
I think I bet you he does average less than 4 yards a touch.
I'd be willing to bet he does too, depending on what
they defend backs really well.
Standpoint.
Yeah.
Your Josh Allen NFL MVP, take is looking pretty solid. Although when
Decent, right?
when we did the AFC East crossover, that was pretty consensus pick amongst the AFC East hosts here on the Locked On Network at the beginning of the season. I invoked the name Aaron Rodgers for the sake that if they won 12 games, the media would fall all over themselves to put him in that spot. But Allen, with the skill player changes this year, playing as efficient as he is, I think that's a great looking bet for you. Now, the North. What do you like about the North? What do you want to know about the North?
I like my Chase Brown bet. I said Chase Brown more scrimmage yards than Zach Moss. I know Zach Moss got injured, but I think that was going to hit regardless. I think Chase Brown has firmly been the best running back that they've had this year. And he's obviously going to smash it, but I think that was still tracking pre-injury.
Yeah, he's had a productive last couple of weeks for them. I mean, 157, 94, and 143 yards from scrimmage the last 3 weeks for Chase Brown. Getting monster touches too. He's over 80 touches the last 3 weeks. So they're riding him big time. Both of our Ravens bets we talked about already. My Pittsburgh and Cleveland bets are not looking very encouraging. I think the Russell Wilson insertion at quarterback probably hurts yours as well.
Yeah.
Which was Steelers lead the league in receptions by running backs. Jaylen Warren's been hurt this year and not the same player that he was last year as far as kind of a multi-purpose player. So he's getting a little bit more limited run. Only 18 catches for him this season. That's down. He had 61 catches last year. I wanted to throw you under the bus before I acknowledged that I had Pittsburgh 2 wins or less after week 11. And then Browns was back-to-back 11-win seasons for the first time since the 40s.
Well, the Pittsburgh bet's still in play.
It is in play, but I don't like it
it's
because
unlikely.
they're playing great football.
Right. It's very unlikely.
They're who do they have this week? At Browns, at Bengals, Browns. They'll probably win the next 3.
Right. They're gonna get it. They're gonna be just fine.
That could get interesting though, because if they go 2-1 in the next 3, and then they're at Philadelphia, at Baltimore, and Kansas City, they could feasibly lose all 3 of those games.
Right.
Right. So if they go 2-1 in the next 3 game stretch, and then they lose the next 3, it would come down to week 18 home against Cincinnati.
Not impossible.
I got some hope.
You got hope on that. It's not that.
No hope on the Browns though.
No,
they're not winning 11 football games this year.
That is not looking good.
AFC South.
CJ Stroud, I had him at doubling his rookie interception total, so he needs 11. He's at 7. I feel like we're getting that.
Yeah. And what we talked about with that one was just the interception luck regression, right? He had, I think, some turnover-worthy throws last year that just didn't get converted, and that's how you finish with a 1% interception percentage on effectively 500 attempts. That number's almost doubled for him this year. Right. And I think that's a little bit more in line with some of the risks that he took last year. And that's not to take anything away from CJ. Whatever we're at on this Colts bet that I had. I had Colts 2,700 plus rushing yards as a team this year.
1,304.
And they've played 11 games. They played an extra game too. So that's not
looking good.
1,304 divided by 11 times 17. They're on pace to crack 2,000, but they're still going to be about 600 yards short.
Yeah. My Colts bet was Latu. Latu leads the team in sacks. He's currently not. Kwity Paye has 5.5. Grover Stewart, DeForest Buckner 3.5, and then Latu at 3.
Though.
He can get there.
Team quarterback hits.
Right, but you got to get sacked.
Does it make you feel better?
No, it doesn't. Does not.
And then the West. We already acknowledged Pat did not hang 50 on the Raiders. Trent McDuffie, your Chiefs bet was Trent McDuffie records his first career interception and even gets a second one.
We haven't gotten one yet. Yeah. Well, I mean, if you're going to ISO up Najee Johnson one-on-one in coverage, I'd probably throw to that guy more too.
Right.
I mean,
right.
I'm not looking good for Kamani Vidal. 100 touches. He's got 21.
Yeah, I think the bet there was that J.K. Dobbins would get injured, and that would cause an elevation in the running back room.
Yeah, he's got 21 touches. We're not getting 80 touches here the rest of the way.
How big of a candidate is J.K. Dobbins for comeback player of the year? He's averaging almost 5 yards a carry. He's got 726 rushing yards.
It's worth talking about. I know that there's a lot of quarterbacks that are in the mix, right? With Kirk.
Kirk laying egg Cousins the last couple
Burrow, I don't know. These quarterbacks win these awards, man. I mean, that's just what they do.
It's probably
Russ Wilson.
It's probably going to be Russ Wilson doesn't get the comeback from just not being good. I'm sorry. Like it can't happen. Joe is shredding the league from a passing yardage and touchdown production standpoint. Right. I'm sure he will win the award because he did have a season-ending injury last season. But don't sleep on J.K. Dobbins, who missed all of 2021, missed half of 2022, had 8 carries in 2023, and now has 152 carries. He's averaging 4.8 yards per touch. He has 8 touchdowns, 841 yards of scrimmage. He's playing good football, and the Chargers have needed him to do that in the midst of their identity offensively. So I know he started super hot. He had 260-something rushing yards the first 2 weeks against the Raiders and the Panthers, but as they have found the balance for his workload, he has continued to be a very productive player.
All right, anything else you want to get to here, AFC-wise, before we flip to the NFC?
My apologies to Sean Payton. I was a hater.
Hey, there's a reason we had him ranked as such a highly regarded coach that Packers fans are still very upset about. But
right. They were incredulous with how highly we had Sean Payton ranked as he now. And we both like Bo Nix. But I don't think either of us saw the stretch of play that they've gotten from Bo Nix coming with like what the wide receiver room looks like for them. And both the last, both last 4 games, he's got 9 passing touchdowns to 1 interception. He's greatly reduced the sacks taken with the exception of the Baltimore game in which they got smoked and lost by 31 points. Has a rushing touchdown in that stretch as well. So he's playing great football. But I had fewest wins for Sean Payton in a single season, and that was 7. And they're at 6 now. So they're going to get me on that one too.
Kyle, I think we're going to be safe on the Baron Browning bet. He doesn't have a single sack yet this year. So
but there a lot of ball. You got to play them all and see what happens.
Yeah, Joe Marino says. All right, NFC coming up after the other side of it. Stick with us. Time is our most precious commodity, so don't waste it scrolling through the same mind-numbing content for hours and hours. How can you spend it wisely to improve yourself? Our sponsor, Hillsdale College, is offering more than 40 free, that's right, free online courses, including Constitution 101, Introduction to Free Market Economics, The Rise and Fall of the Roman Republic, and so much more. All of Hillsdale's courses are self-paced so that you can start whenever and tune in wherever. Plus, you can go deeper with readings, quizzes, discussions, or just enjoy the lectures. Go right now to hillsdale.edu/lockedon to enroll. There's no cost, and it's easy to get started. That's hillsdale.edu/lockedon to register.
Over on the NFC side of things, we'll start in the North. We were both buyers of Caleb Williams stock. From the sense of how low the bar was to be a historical performer in Chicago Bears franchise history. You had third quarterback in franchise history to top 3,500 yards.
I didn't even go 4,000.
I said he sets the franchise record for single season passing yards at 38. As of right now, Caleb is averaging 201 passing yards per start. Now, if you extrapolated that across a 17-game season, it'd be 34-17.
Oh, it's possible. I don't know, Jim.
Correct me if I'm wrong. They took their bye week already. Minnesota, at Detroit, San Francisco.
Not good.
At Minnesota.
Not good.
Detroit. Again.
Not good. Not good. Not good.
So probably take the under on that. Caleb's had 2 300-yard performances thus far in his rookie season, 363 against the Colts and 304 against the Panthers. He has had 131, 217, 120, and 231 the last 4 weeks. Obviously, the 231, the 4-game high watermark coming after firing Shane Waldron. So maybe that's the juice we need to get that one done. How's this Detroit one for you stacking up?
I just checked in and I said under 3.5 yards per carry allowed on defense. They're actually not close. They're 4.3. It's still 11th best in the NFL. But yeah, you get a little rushing yards here on Detroit. Last year they were 3.7. So they've, I guess, regressed in yards per carry allowed.
Some of the teams that have got him this year are a little surprising too. Seattle got him for 133. Minnesota got him for 139. Tennessee got him for 158. And Green Bay got him for 138. Now, they also have performances of 83, 70, 77, 53, 56, and 41 in here. So they've just had a couple stinkers. I would be wondering if they got the Colts, the Bears twice in this stretch. Can they get that back on track a little bit? I'd be surprised if they climb all the way back out from 4.3, though.
Right. Yeah, too high.
All right. Anything else in the north? You want to go to the east?
Let's go to the east because I think we got some balls to spike here. Or at least I do. I had 9 wins or less for Dallas, and that's looking pretty freaking good.
Yes, it is. I had Giants first overall pick.
Oh yeah,
we're in the thick of it.
You said no. It ain't gonna happen this year for the Giants. You're pretty good. The worst team in the league. It's looking pretty good.
I also feel decently good about the Jaden Daniels one. I think for both of us, we both had Jaden Daniels rushing takes. I said he leads the team in rushing. He's not, but he's not far off.
Yeah, and they kind of split it up between Eckler and Robinson.
Right. That was kind of the thought process, is there's going to be a bit of a committee here. He's 42 yards off the pace, off the lead for the Commanders as a team. And he's getting decent volume of he's getting over 8.5 attempts per game.
I had him at 1,000 yards. He's at 482 through 11 games. I don't think that's going to hit.
He would need like a Justin Fields stretch.
Yeah.
Where he had that, what was that, 2022 Justin Field, or was it 23? Where he had like that big run of like rushing yards. It's like, is he going to
it's like 100 yards
every game, single season rushing yard record for quarterbacks? Right.
My Devin Singletary hit is not going to hit. I said over 1,000 yards rushing this season. That's not going to happen.
And let me see where the Eagles are at. I had Saquon Barkley third on the team, and
I think you're going to be good on that. I think.
Am I?
Yeah.
I don't know how the distribution has. Right now, he's 8 behind Dallas Goedert for third.
Goedert's going to get hurt again.
Wow, no. what I did not see, Saquon is averaging effectively 20 carries per game. Obviously, they're paying him.
Yeah,
but
a lot of volume.
That's a lot of volume. The next highest running back on the team has 42. That's Kenneth Gainwell. So I think that maybe has eaten into what I expected some of his touches to come from.
Hey, you had buy Dak, which doesn't look good, but maybe it does.
Maybe it does look good. Who knows? I don't know what the financial implications are of trying to trade Dak off the top of my head, but Dallas being bad, there's a ton of teasing about Dion coming to coach the team and Dion wanting to pick where his son goes to play quarterback. Now, Dak's got a no trade clause. I'm not going to bet on that one coming to life. But I think if there was ever a glimmer of hope after a quarterback signed a $60 million a year quarterback contract extension, this is as good of a situation as I can be in to still have some life in that bet.
All right. South.
Let's do the South.
Yeah, I'm not getting 1,000 yards for Rashid Shaheed. He got hurt. Maybe if he didn't, that was looking pretty good.
I'm not getting 7.5 sacks for Derrick Brown either because he got hurt.
I don't think I'm getting 1,400 yards receiving for Drake London. He's at 710, so we're not doubling that up over the last 6 games.
It looks like I'm going to get this Baker Mayfield take for Tampa.
Yep.
The bold bet was Baker makes it 6 consecutive 4,000-yard passing seasons for quarterbacks as the starter in Tampa. He's over 2,500 in 10 games. So he's averaging over 250 yards a game.
He's going to get it.
Provided he stays healthy.
Yeah. That's always the X factor here.
He's averaging 14 more yards per game this season than he did last season when he had 4,044.
How's this Bijan? You said over 5 yards a carry. He's got 4.7.
Is he going to get the volume, though? Because that was the big qualifier for me, was that he was going to be the bell cow. He's going to get 250-plus carries.
Well, he's got 167, and Algier has 85. So he's trending that way.
At least it's somewhat more balanced versus like last year. You mean
more not balanced?
Right, more balanced relative to their skills as players.
Yeah, gotcha.
Like we're gonna give the good player the touches. Now he's averaging 15.2 yards or 15.2 attempts. If you did that across 17 games, it'd be 258. We're gonna be close on that one. But also shout out Bijan, 45 receptions already this season.
Yeah,
the big time volume player for him. He's actually almost equal to his season output last year from like a total yardage and touchdown perspective. And he hasn't fumbled this year. So props for Bijan living up to expectations.
All right, in the West, I had Jackson Smith and Jigba leading the Seahawks in receptions. That looks good. He's plus 18 right now in that race, and it seems like he's only getting more and more every week. I'm not sure about the 49ers being the last undefeated team.
You know,
they squashed that real quick, didn't they?
They put me out of my misery on that one pretty fast. I'm looking up this Rams take. I had Rams were bottom 5 in turnovers again. The concern was their ability to hunt the ball in the secondary. Now Cam Kinchin's kind of
squished what's up with that?
Yeah, dude, that's such an odd player because he was great in 2022 at University of Miami. Had a ton of buzz as a potential first-round guy. And then he had an off season, and then he tested poorly. But like the Rams with slow defensive backs is becoming the Steelers at wide receiver.
It's like, a good take,
if they pick one, just don't doubt it, because their hit rate for guys that just run poorly but end up like Darion Kendrick. I don't know, Darion Kendrick's not like a star, but Darion Kendrick got like a 4.8.
Yeah,
and everyone's lost their minds. And they're like, yeah, we'll take him. Oh, he's playing decent snaps for us and playing decently.
You're not
Kinchin's
wrong.
run slow. Who was the other guy that from Ohio State? Fuller,
yeah.
Fuller was another guy that ran slow and ended up being like a massive snap taker for them.
Good player for them, yeah.
So Jordan Fuller.
I whiffed on this Rams take him. I said they were going to be top 5 in rushing offense. Boy, they stink. They're 26th, 30th in yards per attempt.
Full transparency, Jonah Jackson had multiple injuries already this year. Steve Avila missed time. Now they're missing Rob Havenstein. They've had, I think, like almost double-digit starting offensive line combinations so far this year. So take it for what it's worth. Like, I wouldn't beat myself up over it too much.
No, I won't lose any sleep.
And shout out to Jonathan Gannon, who a generational hater on the West divisions this year. Kyle Crabbs was hating on the Broncos, hating on the Rams, gave love to the 49ers, and was hating on the Cardinals. I said their scoring defense was going to push last year's, and they are obviously not. And they have found some talents in the back seven. I think that's really kind of been the catalyst for that team outperforming what my expectations were for them.
At Arizona, top number 1 in the NFL in rushing. They're 5th. I don't know if they're going to catch Baltimore.
They're not going to catch Baltimore. Let's be honest. Ravens going to run away from it again. But we couldn't have said that because that wouldn't have been a bold bet, because the Ravens led the league last year in rushing yards with 26-33 as a team.
Yeah.
So that can't be a bold bet. Be like, oh, they're going to do what they did last year.
I sort of feel like collectively we did better this year than last year, though. Just based off the sniff test.
I feel like there was better balance in actually trying to pursue like boldness, but then boldness that wasn't outlandish.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Like I got a little less bold, I think, and then you got more bold. And I think what that led was a lot of competitiveness with a lot of these.
You still had some aggressive stuff, dude. Come
on, I
now.
did, because it's the fun part, right? Is it's like we are gonna get bold with bold bets. Anytime you can bet on the Browns to win 11 games in 2 straight years, it has not happened since 47-48. It's a bold bet. But I digress. We got to get out of here.
Have the Jets to have a winning record for the first time since 2015. You got to do it.
Bold bet. It's a bold bet.
Baby.
That's going to do it for us here at Locked On NFL Scouting. I'm Kyle Crabbs. He is Joe Marino. We appreciate you guys for checking out the show. Make it a great rest of your day. We will be back again tomorrow to set the stage for Week 12 of the 2024 NFL season. We'll see you then.